Now that we have the basics of our header, we need to program in the functionality for our logged out group. Still inside our header element, we'll drag a pop-up onto the page. We'll use this pop-up for our sign-up form. When we double-click it, we open its property editor. We'll adjust the pop-up width and height and name it Pop-up Sign Up. Then we'll drag a group into the pop-up and call it our container, which will then center horizontally and vertically. To start adding elements to this pop-up, we'll drag in a text element, and we'll utilize a default style. In this case, our heading 2 dark is the appropriate style that we're just going to change to be more on brand. We'll call this text sign up, and now we can customize a form. Bubble gives us the ability to make forms as flexible as we desire. For a simple sign up, we'll select an input element, draw it on the screen, and then copy and paste it. We'll adjust the width to match the container in our pop-up and make the height a bit shorter. From here, we'll explicitly tell Bubble what each input can expect. The first will be an email address, and when we set the content format to email, we're telling Bubble to only accept text that has an @ symbol. Our next input is for handling user passwords. When we set the content format to password, we're telling Bubble to set the text to hidden when the user types their password in. We can adjust the form design until we're happy with it. But once we're ready, we'll drag a button into the form so the user can sign up. We'll use a secondary button default style and change it to be more on brand. We'll then give this button the text of sign up, and we'll recenter it into our container. Once we've done that, we're ready to start programming the workflow for the sign up button. Workflows are your medium to express what your application is doing. They are Bubble's way of programming a conditional statement. For our first example, when the sign up button is clicked, we'll select the appropriate action or actions we want the user to take. When we click to add an action, we get a drop-down of categories with many different options around that subject. Since we want to sign the user up, we'll locate that specific action under the account section, where we can select the option to sign the user up. Bubble will bring up that action's property editor and tell us we have some issues that need to be resolved. In this case, these issues are just reminders that we need to fill out the properties for this action. When we click for the email field, we scroll down and Bubble will give us the contextual input elements that this workflow can find. We'll then select the input email address and get its value. Then we'll do the same thing for the password, and all of our issues will be gone. Just like that, our users can now fill out this form and sign up to our app. We can also search for actions if we know the name. We'll search for the keyword hide and pick the hide an element action and pick pop-up sign up, so after we run this workflow, the pop-up will close. With this workflow complete, we want to make sure that when we click sign up, we actually show the pop-up so the user has a form to submit. In this workflow, we'll search for the action to show an element, and this element we want to show is the pop-up sign up. So now when we click on this button, it'll load the pop-up we just made. As easy as that was, we'll do the same thing for logging in. Copy and paste the sign-up form, and change the text to reflect logging in. We'll start a workflow on the login button. This time, we'll set the action to log in, and point the login fields to it. We'll tidy up this workflow, and then head back into the login button in the Design tab, and start a workflow for this, where we'll do the same thing and show the element, finding the element pop-up login. When we refresh our preview, we should now have the functionality of those workflows for sign up and log in. We'll fill out the sign up form with a username and password. We can check that this user officially signed up by going into the Data tab and see in app data that under the user database, our user has signed up successfully. Now that we have users that can sign up and log in the next lesson, we'll show something only logged in users can see.